Hello, everyone, and welcome again to another episode of Liberal White Dudes. I am Andrew.
I'm Jared.
I'm AJ.
And we are Liberal White Dudes. Tonight's episode is called Heritage. We'll talk a little bit about our heritage and then other people's heritage and heritage the heritage. But first, just a quick chat about the news in the last 2 weeks. It's been relatively boring with our stable government.
Yeah, with somebody who knows what they're doing in office, it's almost like we don't have to pay that close attention. We should still. It's almost like we don't have to.
I mean, there are clearly adults running the show, which is a nice,
change of pace.
Yeah. Just mixing it up with people who,
know what they're doing a
understand
little
how
bit.
to govern and understand how to lead and just do that.
Yeah, their jobs.
Yeah.
I understand Biden's speech went pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was well received. It was basically
Sure.
COVID-19 focused,
Yeah.
and very reassuring in those ways, kind of telling us what we already knew, but in a good way, highlighting things like the need for transparency, the need to listen to science. What I enjoyed about it was there was a few really good digs at Trump without having to mention his name, which is always great. I almost wonder though, I'm almost worried that those go over his head because he's not so smart, as a guy. And
Yeah.
they don't mention him by name.
You
So
think
when
Eric
Biden
is there
says,
like, Dad, he's talking about you.
That's what I mean. Is
Clone him in.
Daddy, I think he's talking about us. Like, nah, he can't be.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's talking about us.
Trump has also
So that was
started
good.
releasing statements that are kind of like tweets in that the character count is low and the nonsense level is high.
I love
they're,
it.
like,
It's like an
on
old-fashioned tweet. Yeah.
Pony Express them to people's houses, I guess. I don't know.
The first tweet.
I read a couple of them. It's just it's nonsense, and I'm glad no one is. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm only super familiar with one where he wants credit for the vaccine.
Yeah.
You mean the vaccine for the disease that you denied existed and caused, hundreds of thousands of deaths? That's the one you want
Yeah, he said
credit for?
if I wasn't president, you wouldn't need this vaccine. And I was like, yeah, I didn't need to get the H1N1 vaccine, swine flu vaccine. I didn't need to get that.
Yeah.
I agree that because you were president, I will need to get a
I
vaccine.
have to get this vaccine. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So,
But yeah,
heritage.
real quick. I'm sorry, real quick though. That statement, I think at one point it even said you wouldn't be getting it for the next 5 years or maybe never. It's like,
Yeah.
what?
At
Wait.
We would
best.
have all died.
5 years
that's what
at
bothers-
best.
Yeah, and it's like no one's dissecting that. It's like, wait, okay, so what you're saying is if you weren't the president for that one shitty term, the vaccine would never be invented. It just would
Never exist.
Those were the crucial years.
Yeah. I mean,
And if he wasn't president in that year, we never would have got it. What are you exactly saying? It's so ridiculous.
yeah.
I love it. I love that we're still getting little bits though. Like you said, there's no Twitter, but there's this old-fashioned, old-timey Twitter. It's like, here, yeah, Trump's got a tweet, and then they put it out like a news
The
bulletin.
the town crier gives it from the
Extra,
center of the street,
extra. Read all
Read
about
all about
ringing a
Read
bell.
all about
Trump
it.
says.
Little newsies going out everywhere, little urchins in the streets, extra, mister, read all about it. Trump makes insane remarks.
And for me, it's because he's no longer president, it's completely different. The
Mhm.
weight of it, the importance of it, all of that is suddenly lifted. Who
Yeah.
cares?
Yeah,
It's
gives a
just
shit.
kinda nice.
Straight up.
I
So,
felt like
yeah.
I had to give a shit previously because he was president, and now I don't. I mean, I still don't, but I don't have to either.
Yeah.
It's good.
You brought up some questions, AJ, in the pre-show about heritage.
Mhm.
Do we want to run through some of those?
We
Just a
can if
quick
you like.
aside. I would say that I'm mostly German, so the master race, which is nice. I went
We
white
still got that going
supremacist
for
in
you.
our 2-week break.
Yeah. Full blown white supremacist
A lot
since then,
has
actually.
changed.
Yeah, a little bit's changed a bit. I still wear the shirt, but more proud
That's
of
just more
my
for
skin tone.
branding than it.
No, so
I just
German,
invested a lot in this brand. Already.
yeah, German, Irish, and then French, Welsh, bunch of other,
Yeah.
nonsense tends to happen.
Yeah, that's me too. Actually, German and Irish particularly. I don't actually know a whole lot more about it. I've never really taken a ton of time to dig deep in mine. I've never done the give us your DNA. We'll give you the deets on you. Like I've never done that. But
Yeah,
I
me
do know
either.
that people look. But one definition of heritage is that people look at your lineage, so to speak, in terms of that. But there's so much more to what your heritage is. Sometimes heritage is referring to things that are passed down to you from your family, whether that's like traditions or whether that's loads of money in Donald Trump's case, those are also pieces of your heritage as well.
Sure,
you know,
and that has
your
shaped
values
him
can
more
be.
than anything else.
Yeah.
St. Patty's Day is coming up next week, and
It is.
I am full on Irish for that day.
100%.
Yep, I embrace it as well.
Do
Yeah.
corned beef and cabbage and potatoes and all the Irishy things. A lot of people don't know about as far as when the Irish came over and they were segregated from what was considered civilized society as a poor and dirty people. There were signs that said no Irish, Irish did not apply, all that kind of thing. It was very, it's hard to say racist because Irish people aren't racist, a race of people, but and they created their own mob, in the Boston area, in Chicago, and good to go.
All set.
I figured that out.
Take over the underground, and then there you go.
Yeah.
Just figure it out for yourself.
As Nicholson says in The Departed, just a few years after they couldn't even get a job, they had one in the White House. So,
Yeah.
they made a good leap there.
Yeah, covered some distance.
Yep.
Yeah, covered some ground. Yeah, no jobs to president. So, yeah. Irish really moved forward with that.
Kiss Me, I'm Irish t-shirts.
Yeah.
I think that's exclusive to the Irish, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you
Is
don't
that-
see, like,
I don't
Kiss
know.
Me, I'm German
Yeah.
t-shirts.
Patty's,
That's
yeah. Patty's, Patrick's, or Molly's pubs or any other of the sort. They certainly get credit for all those.
Yep. It's part of
But
my
yeah.
heritage.
Well, that's what I mean. So those questions you mentioned, I came across some good ones that just kind of relate to what your heritage could mean, other than just, I'm mostly German Irish, just a lot of Western European mutt. For me, because I've never really done a deep dive into my heritage or family history, and I have a lot of adopted children. So for me, the actual biological side of my heritage is less important, and I don't take I don't have a lot of value in what I've been passed down heritage wise from my family. I'm not super close with them, but I know what I'm cultivating with my own family and what I want to be considered their heritage in that, in that more personal way. And there's some good questions. One would be like, let's see, there was a good one here I really liked. Oh, how would I define, wait, here we go. What traditions or rituals do I observe either in everyday life or on special occasions? And where do those traditions come from? I like bringing this question up because I do know you personally, of course, Andrew and Jared, and your family has a lot of traditions that I admire that my family did not have growing up, which is why another one of those things that I'm trying to do in my own house, because I didn't get a lot of that from my family.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of various traditions related to holidays or related to just family things that we do. I think most of them center around holidays. But even this coming week, tomorrow's Pie Day. So be celebrating that with a shepherd's pie and then
Oh, yeah.
pistachio cream pie with a chocolate nut crust.
Oh,
And a
you're
banana
bad.
Crust?
cream pie with a graham cracker crust. Yeah. So that's
This just turned this just turned into an.
this or
I was gonna say this just turned into an asthma video. Why don't you keep going? Don't stop.
And then for the
about
Ides
the
of
shepherd's
March,
pie, I like it that way.
for the
Welcome
Ides
to the
of March
seductive bakery.
on 3/15, I do a chicken Caesar salad. Because
Yeah,
I think that's hilarious.
that
and
is
Caesar's-
hilarious, and no one does that.
Yeah,
And it
so-
should be a thing.
Yeah. So Caesar salad every 15th, and then of course St. Patty's is the other foods. Yeah, a lot of the traditions that I observed in my house were passed down from my parents, or even their parents, depending on
Yeah,
what
I
the
like that.
tradition is. And in some cases, parents.
Wow.
Like peach cobbler on Good Friday. That was a predates Grandma Crone even, I think, which would be my great grandmother.
Wow.
Yeah. We have peach
See, I
cobbler
like that.
on Good Friday. That's
yeah.
coming up.
That's true.
Yeah.
See, that's what I like. I like taking something like that and saying that is a piece of your heritage. You know, that's the type of stuff you remember, that your kids remember, that, you know, more so than, or almost more importantly, rather than the biological stuff in a way.
Yeah, just blood percent.
You know,
Because like
are
for
those
me,
things.
I'm you know, majority German Irish as well, but splash, you know, Hispanic, splash, you know, Native American in there. And I'm not familiar with those things culturally, like at all, really. So the, you know, whether or not that's part of, you know, hereditary or whatever, like what part of my heritage that is, in the blood percent sense, it absolutely is. In the cultural sense, not so much. You know, I don't carry those traditions forward because I'm not familiar with them. I do want to become familiar with them, and I'm working towards that right now. But it isn't, and so I can, you know, sort of embrace that as my heritage at some point. But as it stands now, I don't really, because, you know, I feel like there's a bit of a separation there.
I feel like I went to your quinceanera. Wasn't that?
I mean, I had a 15th birthday party. That's accurate, but it wasn't. I wouldn't consider it a quinceañera by any means.
I remember getting wasted at your quinceañera and dancing with your aunt, so I'm pretty sure I was there. Yeah.
In some respects, the peach cobbler for Good Friday is a blend of those things because, it comes from the Irish Catholic. You're not allowed to have meat on Friday, during Lent. So it's like this, peach cobbler for dinner because it's non-meat related. It's also a good excuse just to, I feel like the Irish came up with like good excuses just to do things that are awesome. Like St. Patrick's Day is like just a good excuse to get trashed.
Yeah.
In the middle of March.
Food. Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's like, it's the middle of March. Let's get trashed. Not that, as a people, the Irish have a problem finding a reason to drink. From what I understand, I can say that I'm
right.
Irish.
No,
like, whatever.
In my experience, it's not been that. No.
Kiss me, I'm Irish. Kiss me because of my heritage.
The cornerstone of actual Irish culture. Did you know? In Ireland is the "Kiss Me, I'm Irish."
I assume
I'm Irish
going to
T-shirts that
visit
Americans wear.
Ireland at some point in my life, maybe as soon as next year. Ooh. Let's kill this COVID thing, huh?
All right.
And I expect
I've been there.
to be
It's spectacular.
like "Kiss Me, I'm Irish" T-shirts everywhere. I mean, were there when you were there?
There was when I went to Ireland. There were you only really saw that in the airport and in touristy shops in Dublin.
Not people just walking around wearing them.
No, we backpacked in some more like rural areas that weren't as touristy. So like there was none of that. Not even like the goofy memorabilia. But in like Dublin, it was like on every corner because
Look,
it's a real
a fake
touristy
Blarney
place.
Stone.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
That's a rock. I know the difference.
yeah. And then we're up in like Northern Ireland, and they're just like, no, there's just like cliffs and water and sheep and shit. Like, it was gorgeous though. It was incredible.
Come to
That's my
Ireland.
endorsement. That's
Cliffs
my travel bit.
and sheep and shit.
Oh, we got your cliffs. We got your ocean. We got sheeps and all kinds of shit. Yeah. That's what I remember most. Had some great food. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never had a 23andMe or any of that kind of thing. it interests me a lot. Like I do think tracing back, where my ancestors actually came from. I have a pretty good idea for most sides of my family. I have an uncle who did a lot of genealogy research, and they've done the Ancestry.com and thing like that. But it's like when you send your DNA into those things and they log them and database them, like that's how they found the Golden State Killer, wasn't it? One of his relatives
like that.
was in one of those DNA. I don't want to rat out one of my distant cousins.
I think you're taking the wrong side on that. Gonna be honest. I think there's
I know a lot of my first cousins once removed personally, and if any of them get ratted out by me sending in my DNA to Ancestry.com, I would feel responsible.
Yeah. I mean.
I have deeper. I have a deeper, more like sci-fi version of that, where they just take my DNA and use it to frame me for crimes I never committed, and I literally have no leg to stand on in court because they've got my DNA. It's like it's a done deal. They're like, this is what we call a grenada.
They just
like you
Stephen
have
Avery
no chance. Yeah, and then they just like
straight up,
right?
Straight up, Stephen Avery.
So I don't know.
His
I've never done it either.
AJ was just dripping with sweat.
Sweat. There was a my aunt is
I'm in your class.
Genealogist.
Sorry.
It's okay. My aunt is does genealogy stuff. She's not a genealogist, but she does genealogy stuff, and she researches our backstory and our history and all that, because that Native American part of our isn't super well documented. So trying to trace that stuff back through, the people that we do know over there that are our family members or whatever is, it's been an interesting thing that she talks about. It makes me wonder too, like what, parts of that, like sort of hereditary thing, like you do sort of have to choose, right? In some ways, what parts of your heritage you like embrace and what parts you don't, right? What things you choose to carry forward as tradition and what things kind of you maybe leave behind,
Yeah, I'm mostly German, and I've pretty much dumped the imperialism.
Yeah,
pretty much out of on the imperialism.
On all of that.
Yeah. The eugenics, I've pretty much thrown that right in the trash.
Yeah, not carrying that tradition with us.
Out on that.
But yeah, I mean,
not carrying the banner.
I've seen people find out that they were a certain percentage something and then go headlong into that. I mean, or you could be like Rachel Dozell or whatever and be not at all anything, and then just be 100% that.
That's what I was thinking when you're talking to Jared. It's almost like some people find that as a good reason to maybe identify as that, and it's like, look, I don't want to get down like the slippery slope of like, do you get to identify as this or not? I'm not the police on that, but I think that is. But I do find that always a bit odd and a bit of a reach. And if anybody ever like does one of those like 23andMe's and they're like, oh, I'm like 2% black, so what's up, homies? And you're like, oh no, man, like
just start dropping the N-word. They're like, no, I can now.
No,
check out my paperwork.
Yeah, and there's an interesting comment.
Yeah, like get a laminated around their neck.
Whatever that woman's name is, there's an interesting dialogue I think to be had about the whole transracialism thing. Like whether like what that even means and by what processes those things.
Yeah, that's the lady Andrew's talking about. Rachel, what's her name? When she decided to be like, okay, so maybe I'm not actually black, but I definitely identify that way. It's like, that's not a thing.
Yeah. She was recently on a Zoom call and she had like this big map of Africa behind her and then like a picture with an African man dancing on the side in a portrait. I'm like,
no,
it's like performative, weird.
Yeah,
like
because like I can get being into the culture or whatever if that's your bag, but like also like a map of Africa, like that's not like I'm a black American. You know what I do? I have maps of Africa.
That's like it covered the wall behind her. It was just enormous. I was just
it feels a little bit like stereotypy, to be honest. Like you're trying to pick
it's
out
offensive.
Of a bag.
It feels a little yeah, it's like she's in black. I mean, she's in blackface. I mean, it really is. It's
yeah. It's like she got into a room with her brain trust and was like, guys, I think I've taken this horrible racist bullshit as far as I can. What do you got? how can I make this in more? How can I go poorer taste? How can this be a worse thing?
Beyond.
And they're like, just embrace the shit out of it. Okay, maps, dancing guys. They're like, oh shit, yes.
Double down.
Like, you know,
Yeah.
double down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that is very prevalent in my personal heritage is food. Food is like a big deal across the board. What you make for what holidays, what you make traditionally, that stuff is big. And I know that can be a thing across the board. Like I know that Hispanic families. I got a friend named Brandon. He and I talk about that sort of culture that he grew up in, and a big thing for them is different types of food. Like it's a huge part of cultural backgrounds. And I think it's interesting, like the way that those things sort of homogenize over time.
Yeah, I mean, that'll shape how you grow up too. Like if you grew up with explosive diarrhea your entire life. I'm just saying some cultures.
I also think it's interesting that it can be even non-cultural. Again, getting back to where more your heritage can be just a piece that's not related to, anything culturally, and more of just kind of your upbringing. Like were you raised on Kraft mac and cheese, or were you raised on, Peter Pan peanut butter, or like there's these little things. I find myself, like I said, I don't actually carry a ton from my household that I grew up in, but I guess that's not true. I need to walk those statements back, because even though I don't embrace a ton of how I was raised, there are those little things that never go away. Like certain meals that I make for my own kids is a comfort to me because that's how my mom made them. And my mom's not a great cook. It's not even a great meal. But like, my siblings and I have had this discussion. We love our mom so much. She's never a really fantastic cook. And so she's got a couple meals. They were okay. And like, there's a couple that I make. And so there's there's things that are in my pantry now. And I can go to my brother's house and they're in his pantry too. And they were in our pantry. And like, it's things like that, it's little things like that. I think that
Name
also
one of those things. Give us an example of a pantry.
Sure.
Thing.
Let's see.
Because Kraft mac and cheese is dope. I don't care who you are. Kraft mac and cheese is awesome. If anybody has a problem with Kraft mac and cheese,
it's part of my heritage.
Yeah. For
it
real.
Is part of our, here in this country, it is. It
part
is
of our American heritage is eating
Kraft
boxes
mac and
of
cheese.
Kraft mac and cheese.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I grew up on cream of wheat, the big thing in my family's house. So we have cream of wheat in my pantry at all times. Now, my wife is not a cream of wheat person. Tried it when she was a kid, hated it, kind of never looked back. But I love it, and I make it for my kids. And
I had
it's
that
one of the things always
growing up. I had cream of wheat and cocoa wheats. It's like bastard cousin, if you're familiar with cocoa wheats. I did not subject my kids to that.
That's
Nor like oatmeal. I had a ton of oatmeal growing up, especially instant oatmeal, and like the peaches and cream oatmeal. That was garbage. I hated that. And like sometimes that was like all there was for breakfast. That was frequently camping, where you'd have
camping is where I've most experienced oatmeal. When my mom used to take us out to a place in NorCal, there was always oatmeal for breakfast. Like, there was the whole bag. It was like oatmeal and like the single serving like cereal things, but those are also like wicked expensive. So usually we skipped on those, and usually it was just a lot of oatmeal. So that's always what my brain associates it with, is being outdoors for some reason. I can't eat
oatmeal. That's an outdoor food.
It is, apparently. Yeah, in my mind. That's why I'm.
And there's other.
For that.
It's funny you mentioned something that kind of reminded me of my brother, because I still love spaghetti and eat spaghetti to this day. My brother cannot eat spaghetti, and we both. It's for the same reason. I love spaghetti because we were raised on spaghetti, and it's delicious, and it's never not delicious.
Agreed.
He, on the other hand, took the path of we had way too much growing up because we didn't have a lot of money, so we ate like spaghetti like 4 times a week. So he is like kind of out on it. So now he can't have it because we ate it too much when we were growing up. But I still love it. So.
You can feed a family of 4 for like $4 with spaghetti and
kind of my
sauce.
parents' bag on that.
Yeah, that's and it's yummy.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I still like it.
Yeah.
Just good stuff. I mean, pasta in general is just really solid. You know, good work on that. Whoever invented pasta. 10 points for me.
Italians. Like,
Yeah. That was one of the
Which
things I was going to
Italian,
mention too, as far as heritage goes. You know, one of the reasons we have Christopher Columbus Day is because Italians embraced him as a, you know, Italian American hero.
As like a
Hero,
figurehead.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then like ran a whole thread and a whole campaign and a whole, you know, story about who he was and what he did that turns out to be like not true at all.
Not accurate.
Yeah.
You know?
Just kind of bullshit and
Yeah.
stupid.
And now that people are saying, you know, that's bullshit and stupid, there's a lot of Italian American groups who are standing up and saying, hey, this is part of my heritage to believe this story that's not true.
Nonsense.
So stop attacking me personally with your facts and backstory about Christopher Columbus.
Yeah.
I mean, not
feel
to
like,
make horrible. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I mean, there's two sides to that, right? You know, while it may
Yeah.
feel like we're stepping on your not real heritage, right? The story that you're telling is also, you know, stepping on Native American heritage because it's not accurately representing what happened. So it's kind of
Right.
like, you know, it's either we take what happened and, you know, the people that have suffered from that as the thing that happened, or we take your story as the thing that happened so you can feel better about Christopher Columbus
Yeah.
specifically. I just
Yeah.
don't, I don't know. Different
That's what I was
values to
thinking
me.
is like,
I don't know.
not to make terrible comparisons, but that would be kind of like someone being like, look, you say what you want about Hitler, but but I'm German, and my truth about him is that he was, you know, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, no, you don't get to do that. Terrible person, and we all know it. So
Yeah.
you just have to accept that, like all of us. And so for that, I'd just be like, look, say what you want about him being part of your heritage, but like, yeah, we're not going to sit here and deny what happened. So he was a piece of shit. Like,
Yeah.
you shouldn't be cool with that. Just because he was Italian doesn't make him cool. Like, you should not be cool with that guy. Like,
Just because he's Italian doesn't
And
make him.
why is that?
I like
That's
that.
a
Yeah.
dumb thing. Yeah.
And in the context of the time and the way that, you know, the world worked and people worked, like whatever.
And the way that people saw people coming to the native, like the way that people saw that transition from, you know, the Eastern world to the Western world or whatever, like especially from the Eastern perspective, we're like, whoa, we didn't even know this was over there. Like, you know,
Yeah.
I can see the.
Hey, I discovered this.
Yeah, let me plant my flag. in
Where's
this.
the gold?
Yeah, I discovered you. Where's like the golden spices and stuff?
Yeah, where's the cool
Yeah.
things you guys brought us?
Like,
Yeah, like
What?
corn.
what are you doing over here if not that?
If not delivering unto
I
us.
mean, we're here now. Give us our stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Italian Americans were also second-class citizens in, you know, early America. So, you know, part of that was that. But then they, you know, created their own mafia and stuff, and then flourished
Yeah,
from
seemed to
there.
work out for him.
That's really just kind of like the path.
Really,
right?
what it is?
Isn't
Yeah,
it?
really, what it is that white people
worked out a couple
decided to
times.
unify.
Yeah.
People. We decided to unify based on skin color. I think was what it ended up being. We stopped caring much about ethnicity for real and just like melanin count.
Yeah, I mean, we're, you know, this name would be a lot longer if we had our, you know, ethnic backgrounds as opposed to just
Right.
Liberal German, Italian
German,
dudes,
Irish,
German, Irish,
French, Welsh.
French, yeah,
Dudes.
Dutch dudes.
Yeah, I do have a little Italian in there too, I think. So mine's like all over the map over there. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
I
I'm
don't
interested to do it.
believe
I may
have
actually
any
do one of
Italian.
those. Yeah. No.
I may have some Native American from like some Canadian tribe or whatever. There was talk of that, but it was very hush hush because of racism in that
'Cause of
portion of
racism.
my family. They were like, we wouldn't.
You're like Meghan Markle, dude.
Yeah, pretty much. It's pretty
Oh
much
yeah,
the same
other
thing.
other recent news. Yeah, yikes.
Other recent racist news: royal family still racist.
Still
Yeah.
racist, which some people were surprised by.
Yeah, they
For
were
some-
like,
And I was
I'm
like, "You're."
why
The
are
Queen
you
of England is
surprised by that?
ancient.
Yeah.
The Queen of England
Yeah.
has been here since the Dark Ages. There's no doubt she's a racist.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
what
not
do you
only
mean?
that, but like that's what England's known for. Is
It's really well
subjugating
known.
people
Yeah, that's the
of
whole
color
bag.
across the world. I mean, that's not.
Yeah.
I mean, just
Well,
not, yeah, and that's the thing. It's not
news.
even people of color, just people that aren't British,
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, but lots of people of
Well,
color.
but also lots,
Lots
of
of people
people.
of color.
To
Yeah.
be clear, yes.
Yeah.
Of
Well,
course.
there was that
Africa,
whole
India,
headline.
you know.
There was the whole headline about there just being like, oh, someone actually mentioned, you know, there might be a problem with Archie's skin color. And Oprah was like super shocked. And it's like, you're not really shocked, right? Like,
Is this
you're
performative?
really
for
shocked
Oprah?
that someone in the royal family was like, is anybody else concerned the baby's part black? Like, that definitely came up more than once. Like,
Yes.
they're racist
Yeah.
as shit.
Yeah.
Like, that's not surprising. It's horrible, but it's not surprising.
Yeah, they don't want people of color in the royal lineage, obviously.
Yeah, they're terrible humans.
Yeah.
Hemophiliac issue because of that, isn't they?
Yeah. I mean, the
Was
whole
that all
idea
they were?
behind a royal family means that this bloodline, I mean, it's
Pure as that
racist
driven
on-
snow.
Yeah, exactly. It's racist and
Gross as fuck.
yeah, on its face, it's not great.
Yeah.
Talking about
yeah.
heritage, yikes.
Yikes.
Yeah, my aunt, mom, cousin, uncle.
Yeah.
Like, it just there's so much nonsense that happened in that.
Inherit some STDs.
Well, related to
Yeah, no kidding.
heritage, the Amish, they have
Yeah.
increased dwarfism and polydactylism because of the inbreeding of their community.
Yeah, because they don't accept
Rude.
people from the outside. It's just it's weird how that works too. You know how there's like a
Sorry for all the Amish that are watching our podcast right now.
yeah all the Amish that love live
I just
shows.
imagine
Currently
some dude
watching
up in
our
the thing
live
be
stream.
like, God damn it, get the wagon, we're going to
Oh,
California.
Mordecai's in the chat telling us lay off the inbreeding Amish.
The Amish bit, yeah.
Jedediah,
Yeah, it's weird that
they're
happens.
blasting us on liberal white dudes.
Again?
Yeah, it's weird that there's
We
like a
should-
pure like the purity leads to incest. You know, that people
Yeah.
are like, no, purity, so I must sleep with my siblings and my cousins.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it makes your bloodline absolutely worse.
Guys, it
Yeah.
was only acceptable in one instance, and they were Lannisters. We're moving on. Everybody else is gross.
everyone else is gross.
Spoiler alert for those that haven't watched that show.
Season 1 spoilers are totally
It's
fine.
episode
Season 1. It's episode,
Episode
1,
one,
season
spoilers
1.
for Game
It's
of Thrones, yeah.
pilot. Pilots
Yeah.
don't count.
All right, well, that's our heritage. Looking forward to the foods related to my traditions coming up this week.
Yeah, no kidding.
As you guys know, we are here 6 p.m. every other Saturday. So 2 weeks from today, we'll be back. 6 p.m. Pacific time. Quick apology to AOC.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
She said she would have trouble with our new cadence. She did like the, ability to pop into the Zoom 3 times a week, but now
Alas.
she's not sure when it is.
Yeah.
we'll get
Which
her
is
on eventually.
understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, it makes space.
Hey, and stay tuned for something coming this summer.
Yeah, the Dozens LWD March. That's definitely going to happen. We will let you know, of course, when we are vaccinated, and
Yep.
and then
Yeah,
set a date
and we'll roll
time
forward
and
on
we'll
that.
just do that thing.
Yeah.
Remember to subscribe to us here on YouTube. Like this video. Head on over to Facebook. Like us over there, and then follow us on Twitter, where we are hysterical.
Super.
Thanks again, everybody.
Aggressively.
Have a good night.
Night.